on the doctors.
Asthma can strike suddenly, quickly, it can be deadly.
The deadly condition that nearly took the life of a young boy.
I heard somebody screaming, "Help, help, help me. My baby's not breathing, he's not breathing."
And the doctor who happened to be there.
I was breathing, trying to push the medication down into his lungs.
Then,
the doctors told me that I was in rejection.
the operation that leaves a man without a heart.
This isn't working. We're gonna need to give you an artificial heart.
And the groundbreaking device that saved his life.
It receives the blood from the body, and then it pushes the blood to the parts of the body it's supposed to go.
Plus,
Did you know that more than 20,000 people are admitted to the hospital each year from falling out of bed?
the doctors investigate.
Could a product meant to keep you in bed be one of the culprits?
His head came through the side rail and his neck was resting on the top of it.
What you need to know to protect your loved ones.
Those are just guidelines. They're not regulations, so it's up to the individual manufacturer to follow them.
All new on the doctors.
Doctor, give me the news.
Make some TV. Hello and welcome to the doctors. Today, birth control for men, a life-saving act. High heels to ward off attackers. Yep, you guessed it. Today we're covering all the latest medical news that's been making headlines. We do have a lot to cover. So your child, or you have a friend's child who has asthma or who has difficulty breathing. If you've ever seen a child gasping for air, it's a scary sight. Well, this exact scenario happened to one South Carolina boy who experienced a life-threatening asthma attack. When it happened, it took a complete stranger by surprise.
My name is Dr. Yazdan. I am a hair transplant surgeon and a ER and urgent care physician. On New Year's Eve, I had decided to purchase a new car located in North Carolina. My plan was to do a little cross-country road trip. It was smooth sailing until I got to Greensville, South Carolina. What happened was I decided to exit and stop for some gas and just take a little break. And I grabbed my door handle of my car to get back in, and I heard somebody screaming, "Help, help, help me. My baby's not breathing, he's not breathing." At that point, I ran down a little median or something and got to the car. I looked inside and I saw a young little boy, and he was blue. I had never done mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. When you're actually breathing into a little boy and looking into his eyes, that's a different feeling. This was a frightening incident for me. I was scared. The mom said he has asthma. I asked the mother for his albuterol inhaler, and I started spraying the inhaler into his mouth, and I was breathing, trying to push the medication down into his lungs. I was praying, and I just was telling myself, don't let this little boy die.
And we're now joined by Dr. Amir Yazdan. So I think even as a physician, no one can predict in that moment what it's like when you're out in the middle, I don't want to say nowhere, but you're not in your normal surroundings.
You don't have your tools.
Come across a child in respiratory distress. Right timing.
Yeah, it was terrifying. I mean, I've done this in a hospital setting many times, but being on the side of the road with no support, no backup, it's a pretty scary situation to be in.
Yeah. No, there were other people there. Was anybody doing anything?
You know, when I got there, the cars had stopped, and there was a few people stopped on the road. Nobody really knew what to do. I kind of got there, the first thing I yelled was, "Call 911, please call 911." That's really the first thing that needs to be done in any kind of emergency situation out on the side of the street.
And the takeaway here is if you're watching, you don't need to be a physician to get the process started with 911, because with asthma, sadly, there's not always a lot you can do without the medications that we know are life-saving. Once a child gets to the emergency department and medicines are available, you sometimes have the potential to reverse asthma rather quickly, but out in the field, you need to get help on the way, because asthma, you can show people what happens.
Yeah, let me show you what asthma is. It's a chronic inflammatory condition of the lungs where the small airways, the bronchioles, they get inflamed and they constrict and they don't let air pass through. Also, a lot of mucus forms, so you get kind of a double whammy there. It becomes very, very difficult to breathe, and many times without the right treatment, it becomes deadly. And so if you guys want to see what kind of asthma, what it feels like to have, take a deep breath in, as deep as you can, and hold it. And then, while you're holding it in, try to breathe in and out shallowly. After a couple of breaths, you'll see what that tightness feels like. You're not getting any air, even though you're trying to breathe, right? And it
There's
just
very little air movement.
You know,
there's a lot of air hunger.
Right. You get lightheaded. You know, I got lightheaded just from that there. And like you said earlier, without the breathing medications or other medications, there's not a lot you can do inside the lungs to get things to reverse.
Well, and this is why asthma can be so very scary. 1 in 12 of us suffer from asthma. But there is a very good ending to this story. That young boy that Dr. Yazdan came across that day in severe distress had a good outcome. And he joins us here today. Tiger, you want to come out, buddy?
Oh my God.
What's up?
Hey, buddy. Come on, man.
How are you? So, Tiger, I want to ask you, had you ever had a really severe asthma attack like this before, where you'd had to go to the hospital?
I have, but not as bad. But I've gone to the hospital for it before.
Do you remember any of that, being in the ambulance or on the side of the road?
No, sir.
No?
Are you pretty glad that Dr. Yazdan was there that day?
Yes, sir.
Last time I saw him, he just kind of popped awake in the ER bed, and it was just the greatest feeling to be able to see that.
Well, Tiger, you are a fighter. We are so glad that you're doing well today. And if there's one lesson for anyone out there, asthma can strike suddenly, quickly. It can be deadly. So if you're an asthmatic, make sure you stay on the proper medication regimen to control those symptoms. And if you come upon someone you think is having a severe attack, call 911. Don't wait. Get help on the way. Tiger, you're looking good, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Home? Great. All right. We're coming up. A new reason for adding a pair of high heels to your shoe collection. It has nothing to do with fashion. We'll tell you all about it coming up.